Nan. It's great to see you.
Hi, Ashley. Good to see you. I'm very excited about getting together and talking about this how money works for the next generation if we can.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. So you are referring to our newest, latest, and greatest book, How Money Works for the Next Generation, which is specifically for the 18 to 35-year-old age range, right?
Yeah, I have a passion. I work with a lot of first-time home buyers, and I have a passion for young people. And I think it's so important for people to set themselves up financially early. Just like the book says, act now or pay later.
That's right. I mean, it's one of those, I mean, you're a realtor. I might as well just tell our audience that, we came to know each other because obviously people who are looking to buy real estate need to understand how money works, right?
Right. And I think it's important because if you get in your home and you want to have the assets to protect that and keep it safe. So, yeah, as I said, I'm super excited. I thought maybe you could just talk to us a little bit about okay, now here's where I'm screwing up.
Like what's in the book and what could be helpful
Yeah.
to your clients in the age range of potentially, buying their first home, getting ready financially to buy their first home, take on probably one of the biggest debts of their life, which will be the mortgage for that home, and then also having the confidence to feel that they can weather storms that they may encounter once they are in the home and have the mortgage to make sure that they can pay that every month.
Exactly. I was really impressed. I liked in the book where it says that you can gain financial peace through education and action. And that's why I thought that this getting together with you is so exciting about that because we can educate, hopefully.
Absolutely. I mean, the first step in becoming financially confident is to get literate, is to really gain a solid education about the basic financial concepts and how money works. And really for us, we break it down into 7 areas of money that are really, really important for everybody to have an understanding and a strategy and to integrate it into their financial roadmap. And when it pertains to the age range that this book really targets, the 18 to 35-year-olds, we're adding in additional chapters around buying, the firsts of life, buying your first home, buying your first car, your first relationship where you are combining finances, and just really adding those resources into the book that are relevant to that age group. So important. So let's talk about that. So if you look in the book under the 7 money milestones, that's like the foundation of our educational platform. And there's a lot of places where you can get information about protection and emergency fund, but really you need to be empowered around how money works first. You need to have a financial education. And so that's where we start with the first area of money. The first money milestone is getting a financial education. The second is really talking about protecting what you are building. So in other words, when you get into a home, you have the mortgage, a very large amount of debt. And what will happen, are you prepared for a situation like a job loss? What happens if you get laid off? You and I have lived through several instances where there have been, things that have derailed, financial plans, right? Because we've seen market volatility, right? We've seen recessions. We've seen big dips in the real estate market. We've seen massive layoffs in our lifetime. But a lot of folks in the 18 to 35-year-old range haven't. They haven't experienced that firsthand. Maybe they saw their parents go through it in 2008. So maybe they're feeling a little bit of, they remember, what that was like, that the stress that their parents were under.
And I was going to say, I think now in the current market conditions, there are a lot of uncertainties. And I think by bringing education and talking about how money works and how to set yourself up so that if you were to incur a job loss or something like that, that you're not going to lose everything.
Exactly, because it can be more than that too. It can be, what if you have an illness that goes on for months at a time, and are you prepared to weather that storm? So there's a lot of things that could happen. You could have a natural disaster, prevent you from causing a lot of repairs or, maintenance to your home. You could need a new roof. We all know what that's like to have a sudden large expense attached to your home. Or even if you have a business, you're a business owner, anything could happen to kind of derail the revenue that you're accustomed to bringing in to be able to cover those expenses, like your mortgage payment.
Yeah.
So that's really the second milestone, right? Is talking about proper protection and helping people to really solidify what needs to be in place to protect your asset, to protect that home that you have been able to purchase from going into foreclosure. Or having to sell because you don't have the adequate emergency fund to cover the mortgage for a period of time because you're unable to work for whatever reason. So that proper protection chapter is really, really important. And then it kind of leads into the third chapter, which is talking about that emergency fund. Did you know, Nan, that 40% of Americans don't have $400 in a savings account to cover an emergency?
Oh my gosh, I did not know that statistic, but it makes my heart hurt.
It's really surprising when you think about any kind of, auto emergency. I mean, even my daughter, recently had a $1,300 emergency happen with her car.
Yeah.
And because she's been learning these principles, she's 18, she said, "It's okay, Mom, I've got it in my emergency fund. I can cover that unexpected expense."
That's
and I was like,
excellent.
40% of Americans couldn't say that.
Yeah, and and they're not teaching this stuff in the schools for sure anymore. They don't even show you how to balance a checkbook as of late. And talking about this too, and this is my position when I am working with someone that may be purchasing a home, I don't want them cash poor. So there is a really big difference between what you're qualified to purchase and what you really can afford. And that's why I think that sitting down and talking to somebody that can help somebody look at their assets or the things that they want to grow and protect it's just a really cool thing you got there, Ashley.
It's so important to look at just a lot of the other components that go into having a mortgage and owning a home. It's not just getting qualified for the mortgage and then finding a home that fits within your budget in terms of, can I afford this mortgage? It's also, we have built into these chapters and into the book all of the things that could derail that plan and to be able to build a safety net so that you can withstand recessions, down markets, job loss, unexpected illness. How many times have we seen the GoFundMe pages on Facebook?
Yeah,
One of the biggest reasons people fall into bankruptcy in this country is because of medical debt. There's so oftentimes families will get surprised by a really large medical bill. And if you can't withstand that, you don't have the proper protections in place, that's what then can lead to losing a home, going into bankruptcy, having to foreclose, all of those things. So there's so much more that goes into buying a property and taking on that asset, which is extremely strategic when you want to build wealth. Buying a home, right? It's a great way to help families build wealth over time.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really surprised because I was just putting together a presentation and I was looking at statistics of net worth, and the net worth of a homeowner at the age of retirement is almost $400,000, and the net worth of a renter at retirement was less than 10. So just astronomical there. And again, just all the more important when you have that piece of property and you have an asset like that is going to just substantially, that's life changing. Like you were saying, you want to put the protections into place in case you do have an illness or a job loss or something like that, so you can more comfortably hang on to it.
Absolutely. Nobody wants to be white knuckling it through the downs in life that we all know exist. We know there's pandemics. We've experienced that. We've experienced experienced recession, we've experienced job loss. All of those things are realities of, the downs of the financial hardships that we encounter in life. And so we just really want to set up everyone to be able to weather those storms. And so then we get into, after the emergency fund, which, it goes over in the book that that's really 3 to 6 months of living expenses. That's really what people need to have, is 3 to 6 months of living expenses somewhere accessible to them, so that in the event that they encounter some of those, things we've just mentioned, that they can weather that time period.
And not worry about affecting credit and making that mortgage payment.
Yeah, exactly. And then we go into the next milestone is debt management. So I'm sure that you encounter this when you're helping people qualify for a mortgage, but they're always looking at debt to income ratio, right? And how well can people manage debt, and how well can they get themselves out of debt? And so again, that emergency fund can buffer from having to rely on credit cards to pay for unexpected expenses. But if you are in debt, how can you get out of debt efficiently and effectively and not have to stay in debt for years and years on end? And that's where we really talk about the sucker cycle. A lot of, I don't know if you realize, Nan, but 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck.
Oh, that makes my heart hurt too. That's a high number.
Yeah, and if almost half the country doesn't have an emergency fund, then when those unexpected expenses occur, which we all know that they do, then that leads people to go back into debt, and get into this sucker cycle of getting out of debt, going back into debt. Exactly.
It's a cycle, yeah.
And so it's also related to build that emergency fund, know how to manage debt. And then the next piece of the milestone journey, number 5, is cash flow management. You can really easily understand how those 3 work so well in sync together. Managing cash flow, also related to debt management, and then the emergency fund. So those 3 things, just really basics to help people build that solid foundation to be able to stay strong financially.
Yeah, and experience that peace,
Peace of mind.
Chatting about the peace of mind when we first started talking.
And you as a realtor to have peace of mind that your clients are going to be successful at not only purchasing the home, but staying in that home. And
That's
hopefully leveraging to be able to buy more property later down the road, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's why, like I said, I was so excited to meet you and chat about all this, because I have a heart, obviously, for all my clients. And I do think it's an important, integral part of making yourself whole and secure for living,
Yeah, absolutely. And there's ways to do it. Like you said, being patient, staying consistent, being diligent. And we go over a lot of those, tactics in the book, so people can start to really work on their own plan of building that security for themselves. And then after you can kind of master those first, 4 areas that we just talked about, protection and emergency fund and debt management and cash flow, then you get into building wealth and the strategies to then really get to that next level, right? And that's what we're hoping people can do, right? Just buy the home and then maybe an investment property, on top of that, right? And get into some more strategies for building wealth. And then in addition to that is the protection of wealth. This is so important and a piece that a lot of people don't have the information around, and that is the proper estate documents that you need to have in place once you own property. And you know what I'm talking about, right? The trust and the will. Yeah, probate. Yeah, it goes over in the book about probate court and how important it is to protect your assets from having to go into the probate courts if there's an unexpected death. And that's a big one.
It is a big one, because not only are you able to protect your assets so that they would be transferred to heirs.
I was going to say, probate court is really expensive. It's a time drag, and it's a hassle.
Emotional. It's got to be emotional. I mean, just the emotions on top of it all.
Exactly. You lose a loved one, and then you have to deal with the probate court in order to be able to manage any assets that they, have left behind. There's a great story in our How Money Works Stop Being a Sucker book about, I believe it was Prince and Aretha Franklin. Neither one of them had estate plans in place, and so You know,
Oh,
their multi-million dollar estates went into the probate system, which is just a massive hassle.
and
When you own,
expensive, I'm sure.
yeah, expensive. And when you own a home, you really need to have a trust in place.
Make a trust and feed it, feed it, feed it.
And so a lot of people just aren't educated about that. So we go over that in the book to make sure that those documents are in place. I actually had a neighbor say to me the other day, she said, I looked on, I don't know what it was, Zillow or Redfin or something like that. And she said, your home is the only home in the neighborhood that's listed in a trust. So that just gives you an idea of how many people are not aware of the importance of having a trust when you own property.
Yeah. This is so that's all covered in this book, in this one, the Act Now or Pay Later.
The seven money mile, the seventh is protecting wealth, and so if you go to that chapter, it's going to talk about your will, your financial power of attorney, your advanced health directive, the trust. It goes over in detail how important it is to have a trust when you have those types of assets, like owning you own a home, you have minor children. Our women's book actually has a whole chapter on special needs trusts
Oh my gosh,
for
that's what's
parents
so
who have children with special needs.
that's what's so cool is you have a few of them, the how many works for the next generation, which we've been talking about, but then specifically for women, which I love that, and then how to stop being a sucker.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's our general book. And they're right behind me. We've got the women's book is the red sucker, and then the next generation is the blue one, and the How Money Works general book, Stop Being a Sucker. And the reason why we use the term sucker sounds a little bit harsh, but what do you get when you walk into the bank and they have them sitting in a bowl
oh my
next to
gosh,
the teller?
yep, lollipops.
Do you know what kind of lollipop it is?
Dum Dums? I
That's
don't
right.
know. Are
That's
they?
right.
Oh, that's funny.
It's a dumb dumb sucker. And so
Yeah.
what we're really trying to do is help everybody not be a dumb dumb sucker anymore.
How can I help people? Is it just getting this book in people's hands, or what's our next step?
That's a huge help right there, is just getting people connected to the financial literacy platform that we have. And so if they're in that age range of 18 to 35, believe me, anybody in that age range that I have said, we've got a book for you about money, they want a copy, especially the college kids, between 18 and 25, and they're just starting to get out there and earn money, earn a living, pay their bills. They want to know this stuff. So getting them connected to the books. We also host events nationally. We have webinars specifically for women. One of our initiatives this past year was to educate 1 million women, arm them with financial
that.
literacy. So we did online webinars, based on topics in our women's book. Reach out, message me, we'll get them a book. We have e-versions, of course, the paper copies, and we're all over the country. And we've been interviewed on TV stations all over.
Oh, you're a big deal. In fact, one of these I saw, yeah, a 2024 winner. You got an Independent Press Award.
That's it. I know. We've just gotten so much media coverage because the books are so accessible, and they're really just lay things out in a very simple format that people can access it and really apply it to their lives. And that's what we're trying to do is move the needle on the financial literacy of the nation. That's the whole point.
Well, I think it's wonderful, and I so appreciate your time in all of this. I have worked with financial advisors in the past, and a lot of them, they don't really even want to help somebody get set up for success unless you've already got the mill or two in the bank. And that's what I think is so cool about this program is you're helping people obtain that later, but they don't need to have it all in the bank now. And I think that's priceless. I really do.
Absolutely. You've got to start, whether you can save $10 a month or a whole lot more, starting with a financial education is where it all needs to begin. And we're no longer wanting people to be in the dark about these concepts like the rule of 72, the impacts of losses, really understanding the how, the whys of life insurance and how it can be utilized strategically. So these are all things that are found in our books. And of course, you can just have a conversation with us. So we
I
welcome
love
you
it.
anytime.
Yay!
Yeah, thanks for the conversation, Nan. I'm super excited to help you with your
Well,
clients
thank
and
you,
everything.
Ashley. I appreciate it, and I've already got people coming to mind for this one, but for sure. And then I would love to maybe chat with you another time about some of this other material you've put out.
Love it. Hope to see you soon. Thanks, Nan.
Thank you. Bye.